Good morning, everybody. It was great to see so many people here in coastal Maryland. And for those we can't see who are tuning in online, thank you for joining us as well. And today's program, as all of our programs, is brought to you by our teacher, Jetsima Akonamo, who does oversee all of our programs, all of our activities, and has brought all of this to us as the founder and the spiritual director. Hi, come on in. And we are very happy that we have Khenpo Karze in residence here as our teacher. He will be, as usual on Sunday, giving a instruction and meditation for us this morning. I do want to mention something very important coming up. It's a retreat we're having called the Yunye Retreat. And there's a couple of flyers posted you'll see on the doors. And you can also go to our website, tara.org, to find out more details and the exact schedule. In fact, maybe Khenpo, at some point during the teaching, you can just say a word about the potency of this retreat. But it is a very powerful purification ceremony. Or purification practice, rather, that is from Saturday, November 8th, including Sunday, November 9th, and it concludes Monday, November 10th. And it does include some fasting, and it includes prostrations. Again, it's a purification ceremony that's very, very powerful. So now we will, and also at 1 p.m., which usually happens immediately after this class, there's a 1 p.m. drum circle right across the street at the Guru Rinpoche statue. So we hope you might. We've been drumming for rain, and we'll continue to do that since we've had some success. All right, Khenpo, thank you very much for joining us.
Sanje dan soji changna na shanje ba da ni je zu ji da ge jin so ji pe so na chi ro la ben jin sanje ro ba jo sanje je do soji changna na shanje ba da ni je zu ji da ge jin so ji pe so na jin ro la ben jin sanje ro ba jo sanje je do soji changna na shanje ba da ni da ge jin so ji pe so na jin ro la ben jin sanje ro ba jo sanje tam ji de wa da de bi ju don de ba ju ji dong an do dong an ji ju don ro wa ji ji dong an me be de wa dam ba da min ro wa chi Nirin Chadan Nidan Trebe Tonyam Jembola Neva Juji Senjen Tamji Dewa the Devi Judan Demba Juji Donga the Donga Judan Trawa Chichi Donga Mepe Dewa Damba the Mindawa Nirin Chadan Nidan Trebe Tonyam Jembola Neva Juji Senjen Tamji Dewa the Devi Judan Demba Juji Donga the Donga Judan Trawa Chichi Donga Mepe Dewa Damba the Mindawa Nirin Chadan Nidan Trebe Tonyam Jembola Neva Juji Kanki Tenjin Rewan Yukama Mepa Chem Cheba meba, ta meba, wa meba, cho meba, tade demen, tenji, chiba niji, shidemba, zobe, sanji, mananji, tamba, dela, shansa, lo, maji, tsuji, penjen, bumala, lan, sipa, zon, tsutenji. Nimbi, demba, bela, dajawa, bema, nove, shala, so, wa, ande. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday class. The last few Sunday, we talk about on mindfulness. So also today we will talk about on mindfulness of feeling, or sometimes application of feeling. Okay, so there is 3 aspects of suffering. So one is suffering of suffering, and then suffering of change. That too we already taught So today, the third one, which is sometimes in the four Dharma seal, this one they explain like contaminated, okay, contaminated thing as unsatisfactory. Then also sometimes translated when we talk about on suffering, then this one they translated in the Tibetan we call Chapan Dujeji Duha, which means all pervasive suffering. Okay, so in the sutra actually said there is no boundary in this ocean of suffering. That means no matter where we are born, in the higher realms or lower realms, okay? So you are still in, samsara. So you are not liberated from suffering. I mean, is it? So all contaminated things are unsatisfactory, which means actually all the contaminated phenomena, which are anything that produced by cause and conditions or cause or an effect, because sometimes we say like that too. So at this point, sometimes we use conditioned phenomena. Okay, and then about on these, then there's many different way those masters are explained. Okay, especially in the Karze with the Abhidhamma. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Abhidhamma Kosha, sometimes we call Abhidhamma or Abhidhamma Kosha. So they explain it from the standpoint of Mahayana Buddhism. Everything that is impure is contaminated. Okay, so what is that mean? Impure. Impure in that included all kind of five aggregates, okay, then 18 elements, and then 12 sense of field. We call in the Tibetan words, we call 12 sense sources. Okay, in this, three are the main. Which we need to understand here. Okay, what is the contaminated thing, which is actually all these three: 5 aggregate and 18 elements and the 12 Karze, 12 sense sources. Beyond that, we never find a single thing. Beyond that is actually the Buddhahood. Okay? So reason of that, all the contaminated things are unsatisfactory. So then, or this is also, sometimes we say included all kind of attachment and object of attachment. Okay, sometimes we call like subject and object. Then everything that is pure is uncontaminated or not contaminated, which is the we can say a state. This included the absence of any attachment and object of attachment, a state attained by Bodhisattva from first Bhumi to tender Bhumi, or we can say sometimes 11th Bhumi, which is the Buddhahood. Okay? So, what do we mean by attachment and object of attachment? As giving example, when the I consciousness perceives an object, attachment is formed. The object of attachment is that which is perceived by the I consciousness. The I consciousness and the object, that is the attachment and the object of attachment. The same way we can say air and sound, and then nose and smell, tongue and taste, body and touch, mind and phenomena, or sometimes we call Dharma. Okay? So those are the, subject and object, or attachment or object of attachment. So, and then also, sometimes in Karze, so different texts, they explain about this grasper and grasped. So a pure or uncontaminated state is one in which grasper and grasped all disappear. It is also meditative state of bodhisattva, bodhisattvas of the first bhumi and higher stages. Okay, second bhumi, and then we have 10 bhumis. Okay, apart from the state of the Buddhas and that of the realized bodhisattvas, all other states that contain grasper and grasped are deemed impure or contaminated. So from this standpoint, whether it is the pure, it's the impure world in which we live, or the pure line of bodhisattvas or Buddhas, pure line, as long as there is attachment and object of attachment, it is contaminated and unsatisfactory. Sometimes we feel, when we, wish or hoping, I may, want to born in a Devachin or, pure land. But at this all-pervasive suffering, according to this topic, the pure land also not beyond than the suffering, is it? So, some similar like that. Sometimes we okay. Here is okay. One may ask if even the pure land of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattva are contaminated, then the pure land of Amitabha or the Sandopari, what we call the pure land of Padmasambhava, okay, must also be filled with suffering. Yet, how can there be suffering in Amitabha pure land or Guru Rinpoche's pure land? Actually, the sutra discusses three aspects of suffering, or suffering of suffering and suffering of change, and then all pervasive suffering, although there is neither suffering of change or nor suffering of suffering in Amitabha Pure Land or Guru Rinpoche's Pure Land, but there is all pervasive suffering. So this suffering pertains to the momentary impermanence of phenomena mentioned actually earlier. So the outer and the inner world of Amitabha Pure Land are impermanent. Okay? This is not to say the, Western Pure Land will disappear one day, but the changes are taking place there moment to moment because changes are taking place each instant. The suffering also exists in the Western Pure Land. So that means when some texts they explain, the truth of suffering, the Four Noble Truth, the number one truth of suffering. In that, what is the basis of the definition of the truth of suffering? The impure environment and its impure inhabitants. What is the definition of the truth of suffering? That which belongs to the category of tainted factors to be abandoned and which arises from particular causes of the truth of origin. Then what are the essential category of suffering? The suffering of change and a blatant suffering, and then pervasive suffering of conditioning. What is the suffering of change? Then said pleasant sensation. What is blended suffering? Painful cessation. What is the pervasive suffering? What is the pervasive suffering of conditioning? The tainted appropriating aggregate. The what are the factors of suffering? Then said impermanence, unsatisfactory, selflessness, and emptiness. So Devachin also disappear, one day. That means in impermanence. Okay, so reason of that. So whether the in according to all pervasive suffering, then Devachin or Guru Rinpoche's Pure Land, Sando body, also a suffering. Is it? Yeah. The here is actually the importance of seeing contaminated thing as unsatisfactory. The purpose of this practicing the or the Karze Karze the purpose of practicing the third suffering, which means all pervasive of Karze suffering, and then also the second Dharma seal, which is I think all contaminated things is unsatisfactory, similar like that, Sache Tamche Dungawa. So to actually develop renunciation, okay? This renunciation is the genuine intention to be free from suffering in the six realms of rebirth in samsara, not in Pure Land. Hence, whether there is a suffering or not in Amitabha Pure Land is irrelevant to the actual practice. We only need to understand at this point what is the contaminated. Okay, so seeing a contaminated thing as unsatisfactory generates a renunciation. Then that's why it says in the sutra, the best thinking or best perception is always thinking about on permanence or suffering, because this thinking will lead to us liberate. Okay, without this thinking, will never, approach yourself to do something, good. Is it? If you feel always, happy or healthy, then you will never thought any other, kind of suffering or other living beings are, suffering. So that's the reason. So in the sutra, in Buddha Shakyamuni always, mention it. Best perception is thinking about on permanence or thinking about on suffering. Okay, so here we need, think about on that. Without, renunciation, the entire effort we place on reciting the sutra or prostration to the Buddha Dharma Sangha, and also, burning incense or any other, activities. There's no meaning, Yeah. So also, generosity, moral conduct, and the patience, so on, so, So it's no more than the worldly activity, okay? Without, thinking about, suffering or thinking about impermanence. The best result we can expect is to avoid rebirth in the lower three realms and return as human being or God. But at this point, is our main goal is not actually rebirth in a human being or rebirth in God realms, Our main goal to achieve Buddhahood, which means our main goal to all the living beings have a long-lasting happiness. So reason of that, we are always, do at the beginning of any practice, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes of suffering. Then may all sentient beings to have happiness and causes of happiness. That happiness is actually long-lasting happiness, not just rebirth in a human being or rebirth in the God realms, So that is the reason, we are always in a general apply bodhicitta. Okay. So all of which has nothing to do with, liberation actually. But when we rebirth in the human realms, then we have more opportunity to do some good things, which helps us to liberate, from the samsara or from the, free from, suffering. That's the reason being human is most precious. You can say most precious being because you have more opportunity. Okay, why we say God's realm is not really precious than the human being? Okay, because God realms, they never feel suffering until the time just before 7 days. Okay, when the end of their life, then 7 days before, then they feel something, suffering. Other than that, they will never feel, suffering, So reason of that, they will never have that perception of to do something good or to do, some dharma. So reason of that. So human are like, mixed. Sometimes we feel suffering, sometimes we feel, happiness. Okay, so that perception or that feeling so arise some good thoughts, to do some good, things, or to do some good, to do some dharma. Okay, The real objective of our practice is liberation, not rebirth in the higher realms. As such, we need to establish a path to liberation with the primary requester being the renunciation. All practices that lead to liberation are based on renunciation. Renunciation is extremely important since we cannot progress to methods in the subsequent stage without it. The purpose of seeing all contaminated thing as suffering is to give rise to a resolution of complete renunciation. Then they talk about the three aspects of suffering: the suffering of suffering, suffering of change, all pervasive suffering. That to understand why contaminated thing are suffering and dissatisfaction or unsatisfactory, we must first know the Buddha expounded two kind of suffering. Okay, one is inner suffering, one is outer suffering. The inner suffering is related, Karze, mental. The outer suffering is related the other things, the outside world. I mean, we can say on a material, yeah. But the outer kind, pertains like to the material world. The inner kind of the mental uh, world of suffering. So one may think suffering is basically a feeling, okay? So as such, it belongs to the mental world, which is inside, which is inner suffering. So not outside. So the material world is outside, is divide of feeling or without feeling. How can it be considered suffering? Okay, so normally, like us, people will think, what is the suffering? Then we feel something, with it's always related with mental, We never think the outside. I mean, on the material things. So although there is no suffering in the world outside, like a mountain or river and any other house, you know, carpet, chair, or table, whatever. The external world is also deemed suffering because it's not nonetheless the source of suffering. Apart from those two classifications, there are also three aspects of suffering, which I already mentioned it before. So we need to distinguish between those three aspects of suffering in order to truly apprehend why contaminated phenomena are unsatisfactory. This differentiation is necessary because of the very broad range of things that are considered impure. If we see suffering only as mental anguish, then we have a limited understanding of what suffering is. Okay, um, then all the contaminated things included into two kind of contaminated and uncontaminated. Okay, the immaterial, which means ngume, and a Tibetan word we call ngume, are not suffering because they are not compressed of the cause, essence, and effect of suffering. As far as the Dharma is concerned, all that is cause of the near development of afflictive emotion is contaminated, and all things that are contaminated are suffering. The all things are born with the nature of suffering or relationship with suffering. Okay, all the causes of suffering in terms of aspect of the three kind of suffering includes then completely For example, the pleasure which no matter how excellent is quickly, lost or changed in a moment. So whatever pleasure at the end, it will turn into suffering. So it is said that kasa abundance, tumanduba, which means pungbo. A Tibetan we call pungbo. Okay, of life is impermanent. There is no essence. It's the nature of suffering. So therefore, the bliss of internal liberation, the nature of the fortunate being who perceive the goals. Um, Also, it is said that the suffering is not realized now, but it is still suffering, and the ability to experience suffering. Such a power is pervasive in one's being of all sentient being in the three realms. So it's a call it actually pervasive or collective suffering. Okay? Then, of course, those outer world, inner world. Okay, both are, we say pervasive suffering. Why? Some are related with the nature, some are related with the causes and conditions. So through that, we have to, think like nduji, which means which thing produced by causes and conditions. Those are all, we consider here suffering. Okay? So this is the reason that the all the pervasive suffering is the one of the hardest topic actually, really. Yeah, because we always thinking about when we talk about suffering, which is then related with our mental, not really we think about outer world. Okay, so they said nangi ju, which means inner being. Then shigi nu, which means the place which beings are living. The both are, dunga demba, which means truth of suffering. Okay? So those two are actually, of course, they're 100% related with the feeling in the inner world, inner suffering, the suffering of suffering, suffering of change. But the number three, all pervasive suffering, is actually related with the outer world, like house or chair or tree or grass, or also we can say money in the Karze, the perfect of my teacher. In that, at this point, they giving example, tea and samba. Did you read it, that book? Yeah. In that, at this point, they explain, giving an example in tea and samba. Tea, samba, which means tea is plant, is it? Samba, the barley. When those farmers plant the tea or barley, then how they plant it to the field. They kill it, actually many, those the insects. Then I wrote a little bit about that. That some of us, in the perfect my teacher, some of us may think that things are going quite well for us at the moment, and we do not seem to be suffering much. In fact, we are totally immersed in the causes of suffering for our very good food and clothing, our homes, the adornment and celebrations that give us pleasure are all produced with harmful actions. Okay, as everything we do is just a, concoction of negative actions, it can only lead to suffering. As example, consider tea and samba. At the end of that topic, it says everything that seems to represent happiness today is, in fact, the suffering of everything composed. So in the middle, they have a lot of, how those farmers plant tea and samba, then how those farmers, they killed so many, living beings. So this is the reason, this is all pervasive suffering. Well, sometimes all the contaminated things are unsatisfactory. So think about that, okay? We can, giving example, think on a new cloth or new house or new car. You can image in your, mind. So when those house and clothes, cars, day by day is, getting old, then our mind also, how to say, not really satisfied. Is it? First, of course, we see very new, then we feel, happy and satisfied. But, after, few years or after a few months, then those things keep changing, Then our also, mental also, keep changing. So then said, there's actually the ordinary people, mental or mind, they're never, satisfied on anything. Today, if we have, we get some, $100, then tomorrow we wish or hoping, oh, I wish, tomorrow I can get 200. Or then after that, 300,000, like that. Never, satisfied. So this is, all the, living beings are nature, But that nature is, we say, it's attachment, actually. So we have to, need to change that attachment, through the practice, through the knowing the reality, or through the, knowing the truth, or through the, perception of, thinking about on impermanence or suffering, then we can achieve something, in whether in this life or next life, because karma, some karma, of course, the result will bring immediately. Okay, some karma, it takes time, but it never, waste. Even we do some good thing or bad things, this karma will bring some result, like 100 times or 100 rebirth. If it's gap, between, it doesn't matter, it will bring one day a result. Like the seed. If those seeds, everything, like conditions are, then result we bring up, Until that, it sits always there. If we put in the, the right place, and then put waters or anything, then it will bring, some result like that, in the, karma, there's many, different karmas. Okay, some karma result bring immediately. Some karma result bring within one life. Some karmas it take 2 life or 3 life, 100 lives. Okay, but we never, how to say, some karma we can destroy it actually before bring it a result. If you really regret, if we did something, wrong thing, after that, if we did really, if we have a really regret on that, then we can apply some antidote, then that karma will be, can destroy. Okay? So it's actually karma is also, the one of the hardest topic in the, Buddhist teaching, really. So that is the reason until you achieve Buddhahood, yeah, of course we have to investigate, on karma, but don't go in details because we don't have that ability to see in details, except only, the Buddha can, explain. Okay? Yeah, so on that, then we can think about on all the pervasive, all the contaminated. Then you can also, think about on that, contaminated. What is contaminated? So you can think all the, phenomena which are the, produced by the causes and conditions, which is actually contaminated. Okay? Are suffering. How those contaminate, those things related with the suffering. Then you can think, some are with the nature, some are with related with the causes and conditions, like that way. Okay? Is that clear? Yeah, sometimes, of course, it's difficult. Yeah. What is the basis of the definition of truth of suffering? Oh, here, Matabi news, which means impure environment and impure inhabitant. This is the truth of suffering. Yeah, because both are outer environment or inner the beings are both produced by causes and conditions, that anything we see or we hear or we feel, all those produced by something. Actually, we cannot find anything that without produced by causes and conditions. So reason of that, anything that produced by causes and conditions, that all actually impermanent. Okay, so according to that, then all the Buddha, Amitabha's Pure Land are also suffering. Yeah. Is that clear? No? I hope so. Yeah. So you can think on that, okay? Oh, maybe it's, yeah. Yeah, think on that, or 10 minutes, okay? Just, then after that we can, if you have some questions, then we can do. Oh yeah. Ale. Yeah.
If you'd like to ask any questions, we invite you to ask Khenpo any questions you may have, and we're taking them online as well. So this is a great opportunity, whether it's about the topic at hand or something related to this topic. Yes, we have a question in the back.
Thank you so much, Khenpo. So interesting to hear that even Dewa Chen is impermanent. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more about that. What comes after the dissolution of Dewa Chen?
Yeah. The Devachin, of course, Devachin. Some, normally with, ordinary people, always want to rebirth in the Devachin, you know.
Can you explain Dewa Chen for some of us who don't know what Dewa Chen is?
Okay, sorry. So, I mean, each and every Buddha, actually, they have their own place, kind of their own house. Devachin is one of, Buddha Amitabha, apartment, we call apartment. Okay, his, residency or home. Yeah. So Devachin, of course, someone who really need to, Karze, want to go Devachin, then you have, to do some good things, That is actually cause, to doing something, good thing is a cause. Through that, you can, born in some pure land. That is the result, So what any kind of, produce through the cause, which means sometimes it can be virtuous or can be non-virtuous, okay? So through that, any bring up some result to consider at this, topic as a contaminated or pervasive, or which things produced by, causes and conditions, then it consider as the Karze, impermanent. According to that, Devachi also, the what we call the suffering. Okay. So it's difficult, Sometimes people wish, in the some text prior, they said, in the Devachin, you will never, feel suffering. That is, how to say, talking about mental suffering, not just talking about, suffering. In the Devachin, you don't feel any, mental suffering. But Devachin itself causes, produced, by something. So according to that, Devachin is actually the number third one, all pervasive suffering. But that doesn't mean someone who born in the Devachan, that person will face suffering, which means mental suffering. There's no mental suffering, okay? So there's a different, mental suffering and outer and inner. Sometimes we can say that inner suffering, outer suffering. Okay.
So you're saying all pervasive suffering. So you're saying all pervasive suffering still exists in the Pure Land of Dewa Chen.
Yeah.
Like regardless of what we do, like every day, I'm thinking, okay, I came to do some prayers this morning. It's virtuous, but I probably stomp on so many insects walking on the grass already, just coming here. Or in the case, like I hit a deer coming here. I thought I was doing something virtuous,
but
I
not
was actually hurting a
yeah,
deer.
when you're hurting someone, there's a different, one is intentionally we are hurting someone,
Right?
unintentionally hurting someone also can bring result. But of course, these two are different, One is a little bit more, powerful.
Right.
One is you are not, intentionally you are hurting those beings,
Right.
but still you did something wrong.
Right.
It
Correct.
can, bring some, of course, a result, but not as like through the intentionally killing or harming someone.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the Kasa, Shanti Deva, he mentioned it actually that. Okay. Yeah. So Manthongwai Dipachevata, which means unintentionally harming someone. Okay. Also bring result, but little less, we can say less power.
Then if
Yeah.
you mentally intend to
Yeah,
kill or harm
Yeah.
another being.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for that clarity.
Thank you, Khenpo. Is it correct to understand that Pure Lands should be understood as distinct from enlightenment? That enlightenment is beyond cause and effect, but that a Pure Land still is tainted with cause and effect. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can say that too, actually, yeah.
Thank you, Khenpo. How do you decide what is contaminated or impure? Isn't everything impure in a way because it's mixed causes? Every phenomenon is mixed. It's either negative or mixed causes. So how do you decide if something's impure or
Pure, impure.
impure?
Yeah. Then in the Abhidharma, they actually explain it. What is impure? What is the pure? Impure, which is those things caused by something. Okay. So in the also impure environment, impure living being. Is it? Both are truth of suffering. Impure means produced by cause and condition. Yeah. So then that's why I say what is the impure? Then aggregate element, then a sense of sense of source, Sense sources or what? Sense of sources? 12 sense sources. Those are the impure. Duje, or sometimes we call duje, or sometimes we call sakje. Sakje is actually impure. Okay? Then sakje, all the phenomena included into these three categories actually. In that, then sky also included. Because there's like, you know, they have a mental phenomena that, yeah, kamchobje, you know, mind, yidang, chu, which means phenomena, okay? Then mental phenomena. In the mental phenomena, we have all that this Karze sky and other thing. They have also, you know, 18 kind of different, you know, things in this mental phenomena. Okay, so impure is, you know, whether it's a 5 aggregate or 18 elements or 12 Karze source. That all impure. Yeah. Beyond that, pure. Oh yeah. Got it?
Basically, a lot of everything is.
Yeah, this is actually one of the main topic of Abhidharma, you know. Yeah. The Pungbo Kam Jianche. It's a, yeah, a little bit, you know, we need to still, yeah, yeah. But they actually in the Abhidharma said like that, you know, what is impure? Then there's three categories: aggregate, elements, then sources. According to that, actually, mental phenomena also we can find two, you know, one is impermanent, one is permanent. Like, you know, sky is permanent according to Kasavata, Abhidharma. Okay, and then also Buddhahood, also permanent, and also truth of nature, also permanent, or we sometimes we can say Buddha nature. So then there is also, you know, impermanence also, you know, there's two part actually in the mental phenomena. So other than that, all like a aggregate or other things, you know, always, you know, impermanence. We don't say, you know, any, you know, the 5 aggregates are permanent, whether it's a form or sound, taste or touch, or, you know, to keep changing, you know, moment by moment. But sky is always there actually, you know, it's never changed. So that's why how to say, why they call mental phenomena. So normally we thought, you know, sky, what we saw, the blue, that is sky, is it? So normally it's actually according to, you know, text, that is not actually sky. Yeah, but if that is sky, then it's not really mental phenomena. It's just form because it's a color. The form, there's a two category, you know, One is shape, one is color. That is what we call form. Yeah, it's like Abhidharma. If we learn about Abhidharma, then it's good for your mind. For your brain. About Abhidharma is all about calculation. Yeah. In Abhidharma, then talking about those atoms, how produce the things are, the atom by atom. So whether it's a form or sound, any kind of, things, all produced by, atom or atom. It's more related with the scientists. Buddhism, scientists. Yeah, it's the Abhidharma. Or you can read about the knowledge of gateway to the knowledge, okay, by Mipham Rinpoche. It's good actually to learn. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. And then you can.
Okay, so we'll read this practice in English. Home in the northwest country of
Diana, born in the polar heart of lotus, endowed with the most spiritual attainment, with a renown at the lotus born, surrounded by renowned angels. Following your steps, I pray to you, please come forth and grant your blessings. Guru Pema Siddhi Hum, Oma Hum, Benzang Guru Pema Siddhi Hum.
Your thousand arms,
Thousands universal monarchs, your thousand eyes, thousands Buddhas of this fortunate age, you who teach each and every one of us according to our needs. Lord Avalokiteshvaraya, to you I pay homage. Omani Beme Omri, Omani Beme 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 Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omani Beme Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri. Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Mani Beme Omri, 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 Mani Beme Omri. Mani Beme Omri, 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 Mani Beme Omri. Mani Beme Omri, 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 Mani Beme Omri. Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri, Mani Beme Omri. Mani Beme Omri.
And then your dedication is on the backside. By this virtue,
May all swiftly accomplish the state of Chenrezig, and may all sentient beings without exception placed in that very state. By this fruit, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May the mind be filled with natural virtue, In this way, may causes resulting in something extinguished, and only the light of compassion shining through all realms. Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Khenpo. Thank you for the teaching and meditation this morning. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your being here. And as you may note, these teachings are given freely and everybody is welcome. And in that regard, we welcome, you may wish to make an offering, which is quite traditional, to the teacher, to the teachings, and to the temple. And so we have baskets put over there to the side for our spiritual director, Jetsumakon Lama, for Khenpo Karze, and for the temple. I also wanted to mention that Khenpo made reference to this book, The Words of My Perfect Teacher. And this is really a foundational book in Buddhism. So this is our library copy if you want to take a glance at it. But we may have it for sale also in our little gift store. So if you'd like to go in there, we can get somebody to help you. Or of course you can order it online. But it does go into, you can see how thick it is in depth. So, and it is considered, one of the foundations of the teachings. Also, we have some light refreshments right about now, so please hang out for a few minutes and, it's kind of our meet and greet opportunity. And again, you can come up and ask Khenpo anything informally if you wish as well. So thank you for being here, and I hope you hang on.
You're welcome to take this with you if you'd like. Up to you.
Yeah, there's some Tibetan words too. Okay, in this. Yeah.